So a very warm welcome to all of you. You have come here for the RISE 2014 session, and here we are for the summation of second edition of RISE. And I would like to request and invite Mr. Richard Gale, who is Consul General of Canada in Mumbai, to give the opening address.
Works? You can hear me? Okay. Karen asked me about 3 weeks ago to come and make the opening address this afternoon, and that making an opening address at an event which you have not attended, it can be a little bit, the thought can be a little bit stressful. But it's also liberating, because when you're giving the opening address, you can say whatever you want and talk about anything you want. Although, of course, you want to make it reasonably relevant. Now, some of you might be wondering, what's the Consul General of Canada doing here? Why has he been invited? You'll have to ask Karen if you want the answer to that question. But I thought what I would do would be explain a little bit about less why Karen invited me and more about why I accepted. And so I thought I'd explain a little bit about what we do at the consulate and how it's relevant, I think, to what all of you have been discussing and reflecting on the last 2. Aha, okay. So why is the consulate in Mumbai? First and foremost, I mean, fundamentally, and we've had an office here for probably 25 years, we're here to promote business relationships between Canada and India, Canada and Western India. But as we have expanded and gained more capacity, we've become a bit more sophisticated and kind of broader in our approach. And we now have a very strong mandate, as we would in any embassy around the world. We have a mandate to promote and engage on what I'll call values. And in Canada's foreign policy, the promotion of we say priority Canadian values, but they're values which are pretty universal. That is a high priority for us. Now, one of the but we blend those two things as well, the business part and the values part. And one of the priorities which Canada has focused on quite intensively for, I'd say, the last 10 years or so is corporate social responsibility. And now our focus has been primarily in extractive sectors, mining and oil and gas, and probably more mining than oil and gas. And the reason the Canadian government has been drawn into into the question of CSR in those specific sectors is that our mining companies, as well as our oil and gas companies, are very international. And so they have been involved and encountered challenges in many countries overseas. Not really in India, because our mining and oil and gas companies are only here in a very limited way. But in the Canadian government's efforts to, I guess, develop both a reputation and a reality that Canadian extractive sector companies are responsible in what they do, we have developed an approach, and it's not an original approach. It's a very basic approach that you'll all be familiar with. An approach of forging partnerships between industry and government and civil society, and that's really the basis, I think, for successful sustainable business in any country in the world. It's the case in Canada, and it's going to be the case in India. Now, apart from corporate social responsibility, we also have a mandate to advocate on, to promote discussion about a certain number of key issues. And often those are women and girl issues, which is very appropriate in the Indian context, I think. So for example, the promotion of women's participation in the democratic process, the prevention of violence against women and girls, and the prevention of child marriage. Those are three very specific areas that Canada focuses on around the world, all of those being issues of relevance in India. Now, I'll make just a couple of comments, personal comments, I guess, about India. I've been here a year and a half, and people ask me, how long have you been here? And I think to myself, a year and a half, it's a long time, because typically we come for about 3 years. And when I say that, people say, oh, not very long then. So I'm thinking it's a long time, but you're thinking it's not long. So now what I say is I've been here long enough to understand how little I understand, because it's a very complicated country, obviously, India. But my initial impressions when I came here, and again, this is relevant to everything that you've been talking about, is number one, you have such in your modern sector is so dynamic, and India's the best minds in India are as good as or better than minds anywhere else. In the top level of the business sector, in academia, in literature and culture, you are world beaters. And so your initial impression is, wow. But then, after you've been here a little bit longer, you start to realize that, of course, there is another India. I mean, there's at least one other India, but to simplify, there's the modern India, and then there's the other India. And in the other India, the numbers are just so big. Any statistic on social indicators in India, or the place that India's place in the world when it comes to social indicators, it's extremely significant. Your population is 1.2 billion. Your poor people are extremely poor. And so you think you have numbers like, and again, I'll go back to, we have this focus on child marriage. And when I'm talking to my counterparts in Canada about the importance of the issue here, the numbers that I'm told are, 40% of the world's child marriages are in India. 40% in one country, huge. And of course, and many of you will be more familiar with these kind of statistics than I am, whether it be child mortality or maternal mortality, malnutrition among the children, et cetera, et cetera. So my impression number one, wow, so dynamic, so sophisticated. My impression number two, the problems are so big in terms of numbers, and also so deep. But then the third impression I have is that there is here, and I didn't expect this, I wasn't aware of this, there is a very dynamic and sophisticated civil society. And not only is there a very dynamic and sophisticated civil society, but what I see here in Mumbai, anyway, I can't really speak for the rest of the country, but I assume it's similar. I see a lot of young people, young Indians, who they got MBAs in the States. They've got backgrounds in business and finance, accounting, and they are choosing to work for some of those very dynamic civil society organizations. And that's probably the most positive thing, where you're taking the young members of that very dynamic part of Indian society who are applying themselves to solve the problems of that other part of India. And so even though when, as an outsider, I look at the challenges that India faces and I see huge, difficult challenges, I don't feel pessimistic because of what I see, especially with young people, through civil society, through social businesses increasingly, looking for solutions and looking to scale up solutions to those problems. I guess that's really what I wanted to say, and I hope that that's consistent with some of the things that you've been talking about, and I hope it resonates. I come back to that requirement for partnership between business and government and civil society. On the part of civil society, of course, as everywhere in the world, there's a constant need to professionalize, to become more effective as organizations, almost as businesses, and to scale up so that you can address the very large numbers of people who are facing great difficulties here in India. So with that, I think I'll finish my remarks there. I think it's great to see so many people having spent 3 days. That's pretty intensive, talking about some of these challenges and finding solutions to them. So congratulate all of you for your commitment, and thank you, Karen, for this opportunity. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Richard. Indeed, we know the answer now why you are here and why Kiran ma'am called you, because only for RISE, that's connect, communicate, and collaborate. Okay, now we released the value last year, and as per the norm, we'll do it again. So to release the first value, okay, for RISE is responsible, inclusive, sustainable, eco-friendly. It's running in our blood now, actually. To do the honors, the first value on behalf of academia, may I request Dr. Veena Vora, the program chairman, MBA HR for NMIMS School of Business Management, to release the first value, please, the first one. Yeah. Just leave it. Thank you. And I will also request you to tell about responsible as per the academia.
Thank you. Well, a very good afternoon to everyone. I am very proud and privileged to be here as a part of this August gathering. First of all, I think we can give Karen and her team a round of applause for the immense work that they've been putting in. Back to the value of responsible. The way that I would look at it and talk about it being a part or a representative of academia from a place like Mumbai, not only we try and be a responsible, institute, but we also try and impart this value of responsibility to our young students who are, after all, citizens of tomorrow. And we're very conscious as we go about this work and the way that we handle this value of responsibility. If I were to talk about being responsible, to my mind, it is all about being having autonomy, being mindful about how you use that autonomy, and finally also taking ownership of the accountability that comes with making choices in life. So that's what being responsible, at least for us at NMIMS, is all about, and that's how we are building managers for tomorrow. Not only managers who contribute to the corporate world, but with a social heart. So being socially responsible. So I'm very glad to be here, and all the best to you and your team.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we release the second value now. As a representative of industry, may I request Ms. Pearl Tiwari, Head Sustainability for Ambuja Cement and Head of Ambuja Cement Foundation. Please do the honor. Yeah, okay, she'll help you. No problem. Yeah. Yes, thank you. And yes, inclusive on behalf of industry, please.
Okay. So good afternoon. I am again very proud and very privileged to be here, and thank you, Ido Bro and Karan, for even inviting us in as a co-host for a very important roundtable on water and sanitation, which we did yesterday. Inclusive, where Ambuja Cements is concerned, everything that our opening remarks said today resonated with us. We believe a responsible extractive mining company. We are into cement. We believe that if we are not inclusive and we don't think about the society around us, there's no way that we can grow as a business and become sustainable. And these are the values with which the environmental and the social excellence was really, two big pillars that Ambuja Cements grew its business on, a result of which today we believe we've expanded about 27 times in 25 years. We believe it's a company which has taken this very seriously. We treat our immediate community as a primary stakeholder, with the idea that if we are, if we are able to share the privilege that we have and some of our best practices and technological advances with our immediate surrounding, we are able to see them progress along with us in every one of our plants. So the foundation really was set up for that and to do this kind of inclusive work with the community around, a value that we truly believe in, and thank you, Karan, for making us part of this value. Thank you.
I wish all the industry follows your value as well. Okay, now for development sector, may I request Ms. Michelle Weldon, Strategic Partnership Co-Coordinator, UN Women Office for India, Bhutan, Maldives, and Sri Lanka, to please release the third value. This smaller one. This one. Yeah. And few words on sustainability.
Good afternoon, everyone. I haven't had the privilege of participating in the roundtables, but I also wanted to thank Karen for inviting UN Women to participate in this session this afternoon. And I think we all believe in sustainability. Karen said, well, just say it in relation to development, but I think it's much more than development. If we look at where we are in the world today, we have so many problems, and if we don't think about sustainability in everything we do, we won't have the world here for future generations. And this month at the General Assembly, member states are coming together to discuss the Millennium Development Goals and what we do for the next 15 years. We're looking at the Sustainable Development Goals. And it's really a time for us to reflect on what has actually been achieved and what needs to be done. And they've come up with 17 goals, and each of these 17 goals are supposed to be sustainable. And it's from environment to gender to children to violence to so many different issues. But the core value of all of these sustainable development goals is sustainability. And I'm not really sure what the roundtables were about, but looking around at each of the different standees that are here, it looks like sustainability is key to education, key to evaluation, because you can't start a project without having a lifespan beyond the first, I guess, days of a project, key to business, key to education. I already said it though. And skill development. So thank you once again, and I wish you all a very good afternoon. I'm going to have to slip out to catch a plane shortly, so I'm sorry not to be here longer.
Thank you so much, and have a safe journey too. Okay, as a key link for ecosystem and government official, may I request Ms. Vandana Krishnan, Director General, RGMC, Health and Nutrition Mission, to please release the fourth value. Thank you so much. And your few words on the ecosystem.
Eco-friendly. Good afternoon to all of you. Thank you, Karen, for inviting me. Perhaps I'm the only representative from the government here. I work with the... You had? Okay. I also have not attended the round table, so I'm in a very similar position as you are. Eco-friendly. Well, the first thing which comes to my mind is that I think there's a fundamental clash today between development and the environment, and we all face that, and being eco-friendly is a way to somehow bridge that gap, you know, and we can all do that through partnerships. Well, I'm here on behalf of the health and the nutrition sector, and their being eco-friendly, I would say, would be related to agriculture, because agriculture impacts nutrition very closely. And mass scale, for example, I might say commercialization of agriculture has happened, over the years. And how do you get it to be more eco-friendly would be, let's say, more of non-cash crops or non-commercial crops, but which are more nutritive and more local. So to me, that would be the interpretation and of being eco-friendly in the context of health and nutrition. And all I can say is that it has to be done through the private sector as well as the government sector, because most of agriculture, is in the private sector. And well, let's all do our best and form partnerships. I'm here from the nutrition and health mission of the government. Very open to forging partnerships with the private sector, and you're all most welcome to be in touch with me later, whoever is interested in working with the government. Thank you.
For the great collaboration as well. Okay. So, yeah, 5 years we're just thinking and thinking, and finally Karan has decided to release Rise Infinity Foundation. So I request the trustee to please come here for the trust deed sign. Yeah, Mr. Walter Vieira, President, and Ms. Carol Andrade, the Dean, St. Paul Institute of Communication and Education. Please come ahead. Where is it? Sit comfortable, then signal. You're not a trustee, but you've been very instrumental in this whole decision making. The catalyst, actually. Seriously, come, please. As Rupali just said, it's taken us 5 years. So yeah, you can sign as witness, beautiful. It has taken us 5 years to take this decision to start a non-profit. We had been so clear that we would only do a sustainable model, and we would not go the hybrid way and do that. But the development sector has a way of teaching you lessons, that the complexity of the issues as such that you don't have easy answers, and you definitely don't have the answers in advance. And I would, with all the humility, say that I've learned enough to say that I was wrong. And that is why today we're taking this step, and we've decided that to go ahead and start a foundation and work in a way that is suitable for the ecosystem, that makes sense, and also is more acceptable to a lot of the stakeholders. And therefore, the Rise Infinity Foundation. Thank you. Mr. Walter Vieira and Ms. Carol Andrade, incidentally, are on our board of advisors for IDOBRO, and have very, very generously consented to continue to support us. Like Mr. Vieira is like, how long is this going to go for? Have consented to be the founding trustees for the foundation. So please thank you very, very much. It really means. Oh, I have signed too? Okay.
And we can all go to jail if something goes wrong.
So I should then say, in that case, I'll say thank you for your vote of trust.
Thank God we do.
I just sent her a soft copy by email. I don't know what's printed.
This is all on video, huh? All witnesses. So, if I could request you to say a few words, to just anything, something, please.
Actually, we are both writers, not speakers.
Which means
But-
personal, right?
No, I just want to say that it has been a long journey, and for Karen, and I think she's carried this with style, with a lot of hard work, with leading a team which also puts in a lot of hard work. And I find in Idobro a great deal of innovation. There are two things about Idobro that strike me, and I'm not saying this immodestly just because I'm associated with it. One is that they put in a lot of work that everybody knows. The second is that they're always innovating, doing different things and doing them differently. And the third is, as she just mentioned in passing, sort of, that they are able to admit to having made mistakes and to correct them. As she said, she was trying to sell or have Idobro as virtually a non-trust organization. And then she found it's difficult to run an NGO, not as a trust. There was an article written many, many years ago called, and I believed in it, "Why can't we sell brotherhood like soap?" And in point of fact, one should. One should apply all principles of management and marketing to selling brotherhood in the same way as we do soap. But sometimes, as Karen has found to her dismay, it cannot quite be done. You have to sell brotherhood under a trust and then sell it like soap. So I just want to say three lessons that I learned from Idobro, and that I'm happy to be associated with it for, I didn't realize, for so long. And I hope I will not be kept as a trustee for too long. But I wish Idobro all the very best, and I think with so many well-wishers, they will go very far. Don't you think, Carol?
If I was smart, I would just say what Walter said and get on with getting back to my seat. But, I have to say that Karen is a complex person and Idobro is a complex idea. India is a very simplistic society. Walter talked about a time when you will be able to sell brotherhood like soap. The thing is that in India, we don't mind spending fortunes on soap, but we want brotherhood for free. And I think that's the problem that Karen has faced, that there just hasn't been enough respect for the idea. And the fact that she has stuck to her ideas, her concept, with such grit and determination, you cannot help but be enormously proud of her and very respectful of what she has achieved. And I'm very proud to say that Karen is now associated with St. Paul's Institute of Communication Education. This is just my cheap way of promoting ourselves. But we have had similar problems as Karen has had. But with her on board, with her consultancy, for which we've paid her, by the way, very little, but we've paid. So this is a sisterhood for which we are paying. We have similar ideas, but I just see nothing but good times now for Karen. And I congratulate her on what she's achieved so far. And I just hope that we continue to make this journey together. And I don't know why Walter said he hopes he's not going to be a trustee too long. We don't have to pay, right? So I don't mind being a trustee for as long as she'll have me. Thank you, Karen.
Yep, now you have the, yeah? Yeah, you can share your ideas. We want somebody to share our ideas, and the names are Mr. Naresh Karmalkar first. Where is he? Just to kind of this thing, we're going to do a little bit of the highlights of the roundtables. So we've had about 50 experts who have actually been a part of all this. Because obviously we are not an expert in every one of these topics. It's impossible for us to be that. So it is the experts who have really helped us to make this happen. And what we're now requesting is that some of the experts could maybe share a few highlights and some of the few outputs, because we've had some wonderful results out of some of these roundtables. So if we can get that insight into that, it would be really, really great. Yeah. Thank you, Naresh.
Thanks, Karen. First of all, I think all of us are pretty. We don't like the term expert. It's sort of completely out of place in a conference of this kind. Where everybody has shared, and every round table has been such a wealth of experience coming to the table, and everybody becoming richer as a result. But just to give you an experience of two round tables that I happen to be a part of, and what emerged from that. One was on disability. And while initially we started with access as one of the issues which we were debating, we kind of opened it up to the floor, and there were more than 25 people representing almost every kind of disability and work in the sector. And that actually came to the fore. And it was amazing to see the technology inputs that were coming in from those who came in from that angle, the corporate kind of inputs which came in from people representing the corporate sector. And finally, I think just to bring it down to what would be the actionable result, the HOS Federation, which works in Bandra Car Santa Cruz, had launched or is launching an Access for All campaign in the area in Bandra Car Santa Cruz, which is going to start with a disability audit conducted by an architecture college. And we have been guided by some amazing activists in the field. And post the audit, we hope to have at least 10 buildings or institutions which are actually institutions which you and I use in our normal course of lives, but which somehow have become so inaccessible to those who are differently abled. So we hope to have at least 10 of them implement these access features. And what we felt was all the other inputs which were coming, for example, even access, we found there's so many different ways you need to look at access based on the type of disability. So these inputs were coming in from all across the room, and the approach is now going to be broadened so that all these inputs which come in will be incorporated. And the other good thing which came in was the use of technology. So we had representatives of pop-up technologies out there, and they've agreed to come up with a solution which will initially be on cell phones, where people will be able to access information, advocacy points, and also messaging. And this whole, the learning from this whole exercise, it's a pilot after all, will be shared across the whole network of activists and NGOs across the country, so the replication can take place. There'll be documentation, and replication hopefully will come in. I think that's one very, very positive thing that has come out from a platform like IDOBRO. The other roundtable I was a part of was waste management and sanitation, and I think quite a few of them are here right now, and those who attended it. I guess what was coming out was a lot of wonderful initiatives that were being shared, people doing things at the individual level, at the community level, at the corporate level. But the alarming thing, at least for me, was that 20 years we've been talking about the same thing, and really nothing much is moving on. We have issues with the government not doing something, or they saying, you guys need to be educated, etc. And what we really came out is, what is a positive thing that will come out of it? And what is it that we can move on for? And one beautiful I think, a suggestion which came in, which actually is now going to be an actionable point, is to concentrate on youth and young people to transform the way we look at waste management and the attitude towards garbage in the city. And the representatives of ISKCON actually were the ones who said, no, we've already taken a lead. And I think everybody aligned towards that. So I think all efforts are going in to creating a movement of youth through schools, colleges, other organizations, with all the subject matter experts who are present out there, inputting into that whole process, so that information is available. People should know what they can do on their own, and what other technologies and processes are available which they can draw on. And then this becomes a movement where everybody gets involved. Again, piloting it first, and then making sure that we learn from other experiences and share these experiences outside. Karan, is that okay? Yes. Yeah, thanks.
Hello, putting me on the spot. Yeah, may I request Mr. Vikas Putran to say a few words?
Thank you. So I was chairing the session on employee engagement for social change. We had corporates from TCS. They have a program for employee engagement which is branded TCS Maitri, which is a very popular program. And we had corporate representation from HDFC Life. Mr. Indranil Chaudhary participated. And we had some people from the social sector, Indian Mouth and Foot Association, they were there. There were some people from MAWA NGO. So it was a pretty interesting discussion. Some of the challenges were brought out onto the table, and in fact we had on-the-spot commitments to connect both this together. So one of them was, the challenge was Indian Mouth and Foot Association. They're a fantastic organization. They do skill development for the disabled or the differently abled, and they're an association where they actually market the artisan products made by these artists. And the challenge was visibility and kind of promotion of or making a sustainable engagement for these differently abled. And in fact, HDFC Life on the spot stepped up and said that they will provide visibility for them through their employee base, through their employee engagement activities. And also, he said, which he has to go to the regulator because they are a very highly regulated company in terms of insurance as a product, which he said that he will, of course, try and see whether they can actually communicate to their customers as well. And that coming from an HDFC Life, where a well-reputed company, is a big endorsement. The other thing which TCS Maitri also kind of shared how they go about engaging their employees in the social sector. They do it quite well on a very significant scale. And even there, they actually connected with the Indian Mouth and Foot Association to see if some of the challenges that they can address that as well in terms of promoting through technology, because they are an expert in technology space as well. And of course, Give India, which I work for, we are a catalyst, and we will support anything which will catalyze the social sector and provide any connect where if for a certain project, a certain sector requires funding, we are there to do that. And we are also there to connect any of these genuine NGOs and genuine fundraisers or donors who can help each other and provide any kind of facilitation in that process.
As the session was going on, okay, as our sessions were going on, this artist actually painted this while the session was going on, okay, and we are planning to kind of do an auction around them, where we will be able to help them and kind of, because all the proceeds go back, of course, to the artist itself, yeah, but I mean, for me, this was like really amazing to see that happen, right there and there. As the session was going on, they were making these. So you can see the quality of the work. And as I said, because it was right in front of our eyes, and it is authenticated, they give you a certificate saying that this is being done by our foot and mouth artist. So, you have all that for the authentication as well. I think it's simply amazing. And obviously, IDOBRO will be working with them to see how we can kind of help them. Yeah. Thanks. Thank you, Vikas. Yeah, Mr. Anil Saldana is next, please.
Hi. So I participated in the Livelihoods and Skill Development Roundtable, and it made for a very interesting engagement. We had people from government, from the social sector, private companies, who all participated in the process and the proceedings. The interesting thing was that we had a situation where we decided to table partnerships. So we basically decided we are all here, we've all understood, because in the last roundtable which concluded, there was a report which had reflected the entire gamut of issues related to livelihoods and skill development, the mismatch, the availability of skills in a certain place, the lack of market and opportunities, and various other challenges. Now, the important thing was we had representation from the government of Maharashtra, and we had representation from individuals as well as NGOs who either had skills and resources or those who actually needed them. And we were able to map situations and opportunities to, process these things. Now, for example, there was one very interesting issue raised in our roundtable where a lady came up and said she was actually using Google Maps. And she was using Google Maps to map the resources and the people available in a particular region who needed a certain set of skills. And she was also mapping what were the market opportunities in the same region. And she was just using tools that are freely available on the net. The Maharashtra government representative said, okay, we tie up with you, and this is something that we need to do district-wise in Maharashtra. And so, very much at the table, there was a decision that, okay, we will connect to map this whole process out. We had a move when we started, we said, could we generate 100,000 jobs? And is that something that's realistic to examine at this round table? And there is a company, the People Tree, which said today we train 10,000 per year and we employ 10,000 a year. We do have the capacity to train and employ 100,000, but we are finding it extremely difficult to even mobilize people who need these jobs, and we are willing to offer 10,000 rupees salary. Now, the Maharashtra government is challenged with the responsibility to generate jobs and train people. So we had an interesting discussion where the Maharashtra government would facilitate People's Tree's operations in Maharashtra. Interestingly, we were also, informed about the Bombay Municipal Corporation. They also have a program where they invest 10,000 rupees per woman to train them per year. And they are looking out for agencies that are available to train women and to employ women funded by the Bombay municipality. So like that, throughout the roundtable, we came across organizations, agencies that had the resources that they could make available to other agencies that needed them. So overall, I think it was a very good roundtable. And we missed the representation of the Indian Railways because they had also participated in the pre-rounds. And the Indian Railways said that, the representative said that they could also host and create at least 100,000 jobs where they couldn't afford to pay the people. But they wanted to do a collaboration where the railways would identify the requirements, which are non-budgeted, and where companies through CSR could collaborate with them and bring resources to the table. So for example, they have 65,000 kilometers of rail track. They have 7,500 stations, of which 6,500 are wayside stations, which means you have 3 trains per day. The rooftops of all those stations could be used for water harvesting. Their lands could be made available for horticulture. Their gardens could be used for horticulture. So there were many areas that were identified that could be availed of by the civil society groups for income generation, employment, and sponsorship under CSR. So we explored various models, and I think there's an opportunity for us to take that forward. So overall, it was a good program. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anil. May I request Ms. Asmin Pereira to have a few words, please?
I participated in the Technology for Social Impact. We had a lot of interesting discussion, basically reserving, you never really think about how technology can help even conservation of water, environment issues. So we had very interesting discussions right from organic farming to technology, and really about innovation and how innovation in terms of technology was ever evolving. We can kind of imbibe the rural into the urban development and progress together, as India is not really only an urban city, it has a lot of rural areas. So how we do make it an inclusive factor. And as far as technologies, whether it is using social media or the internet, or properly even using mobile applications or anything, where we can make it inclusive, where we could get the rural areas or concerns, and where we could work with anyone who's open to working in terms of NGOs, and work in terms of collaboration, where we can provide a platform to enhance the entire level. So that I thought we're still open to working with anybody who would feel free to discuss an idea with us. It's great. I personally also head the Google Business Group in Mumbai. We are #1 in India and #2 in the world. So any aspect in terms of Google technology where we need direct help on global basis from Google, I can also be instrumental in getting that for any NGO or any organization who's looking for that, or for that matter, even the government. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, it's open. Anybody can please give their views, how they felt about roundtable. And Himanshu is here. Yeah, please, I would like to know about technology from your side as well.
Hi, okay, so everybody would have to turn back, I will come front. And people are of similar age group, so I understand the pain. Hi, my name is Himanshu. I was part of the first roundtable, the first person to hold the mic, and the first one to be nervous. But in case if I can sum up my whole experience in one line about the roundtable, I have been part of many conferences, seminars, events, on the sides of the table. And every time somebody would ask from an audience any question, I will feel that with the level of questions, I would feel that are we wasting the experts' time when such kind of questions are being asked? But at this forum, I would say that it was the other way around, wherein the audience are asking questions, and I was saying, are we wasting the audience's time by calling ourselves as experts? Because the gravity of questions that they had, and they were openly challenging us in whatever we wanted to kind of showcase it to them. And then they made us think for a minute before we answer. So that was the level of what roundtable we had. So was very happy with that. I was a side audience in other roundtables too, and the same experience was accordingly very similar to what I saw in the tech roundtable. So I was very happy to be that. Another thing that I seriously saw was still there is a huge demand of technology. Not from a perspective saying that this is the technology and this is what I want, but from understanding saying what do I want. Like we are still at a stage that we don't know what we don't know. So from my side, all I can say is we are a tech company and completely focused on social and completely lost what we are supposed to solve, because there are too many problems right now. Currently, the first step that we have taken is making an online CSR portal, which we can give to companies for employee engagement, payroll donations, giveaways and all that. Via which we plan to connect as many number of NGOs and companies and volunteers together. I have some few claim to fames, which you can check out online, but I hope that I would be able to devise solutions with whatever tech experience that I have for the benefit of all of you. As I said, we are a tech company, so feel free to throw any kind of tech challenges to us, because that is what we do, and we are only focused on the social sector. The name of the company is Project Hina, a shameless plug. Okay, thank you so much.
That was nice. Anybody else would like to say something about the roundtable as well?
Hi. Hello. Yeah. Hi, I'm Christopher, and I was in the Waste to Wealth roundtable. And again, I don't know why I was called an expert, because I was just a little boy playing in the mud and having so much of fun till these ID Bro guys came after me. And I mean, we even called ourselves Dirt. And I was so happy that there were a lot of mad people like me at that same round table doing great things like we were doing. And it's good to know that you're not alone. Thank you.
That was nice, short and sweet. Anybody else? Nurag.
Very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Anaga, and I represent Ambuja Cement Foundation. It's been our great privilege to co-host the roundtable on water and sanitation, and that's mainly for two reasons. The first one is we as an organization are completely committed to working on water and sanitation, which, I mean, they're the biggest issue in themselves. So we like to take up challenge, and we have dedicated our efforts for over a long time on that. That was one reason. And the second reason, we as an organization also believe that in isolation you cannot make an impact. This was a very good opportunity for us to meet like-minded people, think of, alternate solutions, and get together and, start planning our move in future. I was, of course, there for the roundtable, and it culminated into a very, very positive outcome for us. Most of us, incidentally, in the roundtable, believed that working with government is the thing that is going to bring about change, looking at the scale of operation that is required. And towards the end of the conference, we came up with an draft of intent letter. And we decided, unfortunately, since government was not represented in our roundtable, we decided that we will put forth our idea and say that yes, we are there and we want to work with government in whichever way possible. I think speaking about IDOBRO, I'll not leave this opportunity. Karen is a dear friend. Today, we are, as an organization, have also collaborated in a grand way. And it's been our privilege, Karen, being very honest with you, to co-host this roundtable. It's been a great value for us. IDOBRO, as an organization, I suppose, brings in multiple values that all of us believe. I think that's something which is unanimously accepted. But I think there are two unique values that they bring in, or the qualities that they bring in. One is this complete sincere dedication. And second thing is they don't have predefined agenda. This is an organization which comes forth and says, okay, what would you like to do, and tell us how can we support with you. I think that's what makes IDOBRO complete unique than other organizations who are around. And there are n number of roundtables which actually do not result into any positive outcome. So I'll take this opportunity on behalf of my organization to thank IDOBRO. We would love to be partner with you in future. And there's hardly anything that we have done up till now, and there's a long way to go. Yeah.
Speak a little bit on the M&E roundtable, please, because we do have Sonal Zaveri, who's the representative of the governing board member, actually, of the community evaluation, and she could not make it that time, so she'd get a sense of what happened over there, actually.
Okay,
yeah,
so we missed you. We missed you being there. It was a small group of about 10 to 12 people, and I would say that Sanjeev is also one who can carry on speak about it. We had a very, very interesting discussion and lots of controversial. I know. And it was supposed to be a workshop also. What I liked was people with diverse backgrounds were there. Everyone understood monitoring and evaluation in their own way. But there was a lot of keen interest that I witnessed in almost everyone to, look at how can I do better. I mean, there's this whole sense of understanding monitoring and evaluation as an integral part of implementation, which in NGOs and also in corporate sector is just happening. So it was a great opportunity to exchange ideas. We also had Sanjeev, and I would take this liberty to invite Sanjeev also to speak 2 words. But honestly, personally, I enjoyed it because it was an open forum, and there were people who had immense experience with regards to monitoring and evaluation, but there was an intent, as I said, to learn better. Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, you want me to say? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sanjeev Vyas, and I'm representing a USAID program called the Improving Healthy Behaviors program, and we work with the Government of India, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and WCD to create behavior change communication. in the areas of family planning, maternal health, TB, HIV, and child health. We've been working with both the ministry at the central government and with several state governments, and happy that we have the government of Maharashtra representative also here today. Some of the work that we are doing also is to engage with the private sector now, and I'll talk about it a little later. And I wanted to talk about 2 roundtables that I was a part of, actually 4, but I'll talk about 2. One was the monitoring and evaluation one, just as our colleague from Ambuja told us about. And it was a diverse group, although it was a small group, and there was a very passionate discussion. And there were different interpretations of monitoring and evaluation, much like, how you see an elephant and blind men touch it and, think of different things about it. So it was a good discussion. There wasn't a very big conclusion after the group, I must say. So it was left a little open-ended. We could have done better in that roundtable, I must say. Also talking about the malnutrition group, somehow I thought that everyone came with the focus of talking about, whenever we talk of malnutrition, we always think of the poor people and we think of undernutrition, whereas overnutrition is also a part of it. And as people in the development sector, we should not just focus on the rich or the poor, but actually on the individual who's suffering. So we know that in the middle class and the upper class, there are people who are obese and they have a lot of problems. So that's also a bit of malnutrition. There were people from the NGO sector like Ekam Foundation. There was a professor from TIS. We had a very good discussion and we decided to form a Google group, and hopefully that is going to actually happen. And we'll all be able to collaborate. It might be a good idea to do a Google group for all the roundtables, so that the participation is not restricted to these 3 days, and people can learn about each other's work throughout the year rather than just these 3 days. That's one of my appeals to Kiran and IDOBRO. We also launched the Taj Must Smile platform, which is really a public-private partnership for health, and we had a press conference with the media of Mumbai were there. There were journalists from some 7, 8 different newspapers and magazines. And we unveiled the microsite. So you can also go to the microsite and take a look at it. And the whole idea is that various organizations, whatever work they're doing, if they're working in the area of maternal health, child health, or family planning, can actually join hands with us. There is no monetary exchange, but you can benefit with the great communication campaigns that we have made for the government. We give them free of cost to all the private sector institutions. Some of our partners are here in the audience, and I'll be happy to talk about it offline. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Jyoti Tanna would like to say something. People are getting scared suddenly, their name is coming.
I know, I wasn't ready at all. Yeah, it was indeed. I thank you, Karen, for inviting me. First and foremost, I didn't know whether I'm right person or a wrong person. So I asked Karen, am I right to be there? She said, yes, of course, and you'll get along very well. What I want to tell you, our roundtable had 4 NGOs and some of the other members from private company also. And the discussion was on right to education, but actually it was quality education, not right to education. So it had a lot of plus points, it had a lot of negative points, and we discussed that. The outcome was that we can make things better by reaching out to the municipal schools and the government schools and private schools, by implementing the teachers' training and reaching out to the education colleges where the teachers are trained, B.Ed and all. And they should be trained in such a way that they realize the needs of the children rather than just giving what is in the curriculum. So this was discussed, and some few points that came out, which Vinod from STIR Foundation spoke about, and STIR Foundation he really stirred it, really stirred it. And it was indeed a good session, and I must thank you, Karen, for inviting me. Thank you very, very much, and I'm sure we'll do something with you. Thank you.
So, anyone else? Okay. No, no, okay, I'm just concluding this. Okay, RISE 2014, it's Connect, Communicate, Collaborate. We say it is K, Connect, K, Communicate, and K, Collaborate. So may I request the K, Karan, to please come and say a few words.
As you can see, my team has a mind of their own. But no, but honestly, without the team, I don't think, any of the words that were spoken for me is actually for my team. Okay, I just front it. And as I think Mr. Kalansi was saying right at the Global Economic Summit in the morning, that sometimes, we stand here, it is the team that does the work and we are the ones who get the credit. And I think that's absolutely true for my team. So may I please request all of you to give my team a round of applause. We will have you all up later on, but I know you all create so much chaos that I don't want to call you all right now. Okay, so we've come to the end of this session. I want to tell this session is really a very special session in the sense, as you can see, it is only the partners, only the experts, and a few very close associates that we have really invited for this session for the very simple reason that it was for us to understand, beyond just a delegate who comes in just for that one couple of hours and then is out. We really want to look at how are we building relationships. And this whole event would not be possible if it wasn't for the people sitting over here. Because it's a truly collaborative event. IDOBRO definitely, even with the best of my team that I have and who I'm very proud of, we would not be able to do it alone without the partners and the experts. So which is why I really wanted this opportunity to be able to share with you all and to also allow sharing between the roundtables, because a lot of roundtable people have not attended every roundtable. So they've attended maybe one, two, and that's exactly how we designed RISE, to be multi-stakeholder. So we ensured that there was government in all roundtables. Unfortunately, those that did not have the government was because somebody fell sick or, something of that kind. But otherwise, every roundtable did have government representation. We obviously had corporate sector, we had academia in them, and then of course, the development sector itself. The second was it was to be collaborative, and this you can already see, so I'm not going to go there. The third was to make it inclusive. If you see the way we have designed this event, people do not have to worry about paying for a 5-star lunch, very clearly. That it had to be something that anybody from anywhere could come. And we've had people come from all over different cities, and we've had people who would not have normally attended a conference of this nature. Let me put it that way, right? So we wanted to make sure that this was possible, that anyone who wanted to be part of the conversation would be able to do so. So that's how it was designed. And last but not the least, it was participatory. As you can see, we had no panels, no profiles, no presentations. And we stuck with that even to now. And, Richard Bale has been a very gracious, host for us in the sense of that he didn't worry that I didn't ask for his profile or anything. I'm like, what am I going for? But very gracious in saying, that's fine, we'll be there. And he's come as informally because of that, I don't want to make this a big thing. So thank you so much for accepting my invitation without even that happening. So that's how it has been designed. And the idea is, Sanjeev, definitely this is not an event, it's a platform. We intend taking it forward. We intend having regular connect with all of you and with the delegates if they are interested. Obviously, this cannot be a forced engagement, but we very definitely will continue to work. We are very keen to work with the government. And, Vandana has again been a wonderful, very gracious. Every time I've asked her to be a part of something that we've done, very open to partnerships, and has always said, if anybody who's interested to kind of work with the government, do let us know. And of course, nutrition is an important area for us. So I'm hoping that we will see a lot of more connects happening in that case. So, and of course, as far as partnerships go, we have the Taj Mahal Smile. They did the media launch over here. We also had Drishti, which was actually a GIZ, eBay, Ashoka Foundation grant fund, which was given to design a pilot program for taking corporate professionals to rural communities and undergoing an immersion program, which is really unique in itself. So, so we've had some really unique activities happening simultaneously. Incidentally, we also had the pre-release, and this is again a first. Normally things start in the West and then a couple of months later get released in India, or at the very best it happens together. We actually had the reverse release happen over here, where we had the report, the global report on millennials. We don't call X and Y gen anymore, but the millennials, okay, which on business citizenship. So it was wonderful to see, and we had to take special permission to get an expert on the Indian portion of the whole project report, and that was released at RISE again. So as you can see, we had so many different variety of activities. We did a focus group for the community of evaluators to understand evaluation and monitoring across regions. So it's not just, in India, but across South Asia. So I think we've had so many different partnership opportunities that we've seen it rise, and therefore, to call it a call for partnership is literally a misnomer, because that was exactly what happened right through the entire 2.5 days that we had here. So I think, I am satisfied. I'm satisfied that, we what we have set out to do as an idea, especially because people are so used to panels, so used to big names, so used to certain things that they just don't want to come and converse and say, okay, who's there? But once they started that whole conversation, I think it's been amazing the way that people have interacted, people have engaged. We've actually had to push people out of the door at the end of the day. So it's been wonderful 2.5 days, and I just want to say thank you very, very much to everyone sitting over here, because believe me, all of you are very special to IDOBRO, because all of you have helped make IDOBRO what it is today. So thank you very, very much, and I hope to continue this conversation with you all. And now I'm going to make a request, if we can all, I know all of you are having your sandwiches, but if we could probably come in front and do a picture, would be like so nice, so nice. Yeah, please. Thank you so much.